Hey everyone, welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going to be taking you through a study with me just before my exams where I decided to do a little bit of cramming in preparation for the upcoming GCSE assessments. Now I know that this is a little bit late, but I've been busy and luckily enough I'm now finished my exams and I'm finishing school on the 28th, but I still wanted to make this video to show you guys what I'd done, because some of you may still have exams, most of you probably don't, some of you may be in year 10 and have some end of year assessments, so this might be some good motivation. I'll stop yapping now and just get into the video. I started off at 5:30 in the morning, pretty early start, however I was trying something different. I wanted to get as much work done as possible and still have time to do other stuff, so I went to bed at about 9 PM the night before and woke up at 5, did all my stuff, got ready, and then just got on with it pretty much. I work in 4-hour blocks. This is a technique that I found via Karma Medic's channel, where you work for 4 hours and then take a 2-hour break and then do another 4 hours. And that's basically the structure of my day. I started off just going through science, so I had all the topics that were going to be in my assessment because the teachers gave them to us. So I decided to just go through some free science lessons videos and make sure that all my key knowledge was there, because for things like chemistry, all the lockdown work we did was pretty much useless since our teacher didn't really put in that much effort. So I kind of had to reteach myself some stuff. Free science lessons is great because he manages to teach you everything and skip all the fluff that you don't need, so he sticks to the spec pretty well and he works for pretty much every exam board. And the best things he does is definitely go through the required practicals and all the steps you need, because those are most likely going to be your 6-mark questions, like how to do, certain practicals. While I've still got your attention, don't forget to subscribe, because there will be far more content come up in the future, including what my A-levels will be and me preparing for them pretty much over the summer. And also, if you didn't know, this is actually kind of like a video that I already filmed. Obviously on my channel, if you go, you can see a 9-hour long study with me, and that's pretty much that video but with some extra part added onto it, so it can remain interesting for you guys who didn't want to watch all 9 hours of it, and that's completely fine. Also, you notice periodically throughout me while revising, I'll go onto an Excel document, and that's my retrospective revision timetable. I made a video on this, which is pretty much just a copy of Ali Abdal's video where he talks about the timetable, and it's super great, super useful. I don't think many GCSE students had heard of it or used it before. That's why I mainly decided to make the video, and I still stand by it. My friend uses it as well, and it's basically just write down when you revise that topic, then you can understand which topics need to be revised based on the fact that you may have not revised it in the past week or something like that. Well, it's more looking back than looking forward compared to something like a prospective revision timetable. My number one tip for year 10s going into year 11 in September is start exam questions as early as possible. So, start doing them for your end of chapter assessments, start doing them after learning lessons, because that will really benefit you long term. If you know the format of the questions and how they're going to be asked, it's going to be super simple for you to be able to answer the questions when they come up on test, because like I said, and like I always say, they tend to reuse questions. So if you go through enough of the exam questions, then you're bound to come up with some similar one. Now, it was finally starting to approach 9:30 and my 4-hour session would almost be done. As you can see, it's getting a little bit brighter now. I think it's really nice actually revising in the morning. For me, it's probably the most optimum time to be revising because of the fact that I'm fresh, I'm not tired from school, I'm not tired from scrolling through Tik Tok all day, so it's best to start revision as early as possible for me. But for some people, they like revising at night, that's fair enough, but I think I'm more of a morning person when it comes to revision. I started finishing off my biology work. I was going through, I think, the menstrual cycle and the release of FSH, LH, and all these other fantastic hormones. Afterwards, I just wanted to reinforce my knowledge by going through some Anki cards. And Anki is great, especially when it comes to revising for exams. However, it's not a last minute thing, it's more of a you have to do it for the past 6 months to be able to use it correctly. However, I've been doing that, so it's working out quite well. I honestly wish I knew about Anki sooner when it came to my GCSEs. However, I'm glad that I got the experience this year with it so that I can be using it for A-levels, because it is super valuable. And there is a video coming out soon. I know I say that every week, but there will 100% be a video out in the summer where I just go through Anki and teach you guys how to use it correctly. With these 4-hour sessions, that last little bit is always the toughest and the hardest to get through. However, once you're through that and once you're over the hill, you're practically finished and you've already done 4 hours. Now this is a part where people may struggle, and it's the fact that I don't have breakfast straight away. I wait all that time to have breakfast. Some people might not like working on an empty stomach, but I think it gives me something to look forward to, so I just make my porridge, which I pretty much have every day. During exam time, I also remove things like Instagram, Netflix, and distracting apps from my home screen to prevent me from going on them and wasting time. I've also really been getting into classical music lately. Pretty relaxing in the morning. You should try out. I finished making my breakfast, adding my sugar and my milk. I know some of these shots look pretty overexposed. I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to the camera. I've said it before and I'll say it again. British whole milk is the best milk. Blue milk is the best milk. It's better than green or red milk. Breakfast is such a valuable part of my day. I wake up in the morning, I don't touch my phone, I don't do anything like that up until I sit down for breakfast. It's a great habit that I've been getting into. I don't enjoy breakfast as much on the weekends. However, on this day, I'm just, going through my phone. I go through things like my YouTube comments, make sure to reply to you guys, stuff like that. I was also pretty excited about the fact that Ali Abdal commented on my day in the life video, which is kind of blown up. It's gotten like 68,000 views at this point, which is pretty good. A lot of people are loving that video, and it's reached a wider audience on YouTube, which I love. Before we go any further, I want to talk about the sponsor of this week's video, FlexiSpot. As you may know, I've worked with them in the past, and they even sent me one of their amazing EQ4 desks, and it's absolutely fantastic. I use it pretty much every day and really relieves tension when revising for extremely long periods of time, such as that day. I really hyped it up in my desk setup, and I still think it's really worth it. If you're someone who sits down for an extended period of time, such as most of the students watching this, you might find this extremely useful. As most of us are going into our A-levels, we're going to be doing longer and more independent form of studies. I think this will be a great addition to your desk setup. To celebrate the upcoming FlexiSpot Day on May 25th, 2021, you can get up to 32% off from the 24th to the 30th of May, site-wide. So if you want to get a desk, this is literally the perfect time to pick one up and get a great deal. Save your back and get yourself a great deal with FlexiSpot. A lot of people have picked this desk up using my link in the description and have really loved it, so check it out. Thank you again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. After my little break from 10:30 till 12:30, I began my physics work. So obviously in the morning I did 2 hours of biology and 2 hours of chemistry, so now it was just left to do physics. The main topics that are going to be on exam are things like waves and the spectrum, as well as forces, so pretty much everything paper 2. I don't think there's a single chapter in paper 1 for our final assessment exam thingy, because for our mocks we did paper 1, so for this we're doing paper 2 pretty much, minus a couple of chapters that we didn't do, such as the astrophysics chapter, which we are now completing in class. Like I said, I have a week left and things are very boring. We had a little Blood Brothers assessment in English last week just to get more evidence, in big air quotes, for our English literature grade. However, for the last week, I'm not sure what we're going to do. There are some people who have to finish off some past exams, I guess. But for me, it's probably just going to be watching documentaries like we've been doing for the past couple of days in class, and probably talking because we don't have much to do. On our last day of school, has also decided not to do anything fun. We're not even allowed to go on the field. There's no muffly, there's no nothing like that. So that's pretty boring. It's not the biggest deal. I mean, at least we're getting leavers hoodies and things like that. But anyway, back to the revision. Physics is one of those sciences that I don't enjoy that much. However, I don't find it too difficult. You know what I mean? Like, the physics exam is just not that fun, mainly because it's like a lot of equations. The most interesting parts of physics are things like astrophysics, at least for me, because those things are super interesting to learn about, and have some great chapters and great topics inside it, such as like what happens to a star, like the life cycle, things like redshifts. It's such a broad spectrum and there's so much to learn about, especially in the wider universe, which is why it's so interesting for me. Now I was done with my sciences and I moved on to religious studies. This was actually my first exam during the period. I was focusing mainly on sciences because those are the subjects I'll be doing at my A-levels. However, RS is also, an important subject, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. In fact, we have 2 papers, one on Christianity beliefs, Islam practices and Islam beliefs, and the next paper is more focusing on ethics and philosophy. Some people say, I've done my RS exam in year 10. I only recently found this out, but it's because my school do the long course, and your school, if you've done it in year 10, or your religious studies exam in year 10, it's because you guys do the short course. But the long course is pretty interesting. There have been some very interesting topics and things like that. RS is pretty simple. The only thing that I need to work on, that I was working on here, was flashcards and remembering quotes. This is because remembering quotes is like the most important thing. Remembering the information is not too bad to do. However, implementing quotes is what gets you those higher marks and pushes you into grade 9. So I used Anki to just write down all the quotes that my teachers recommended we should learn. I then moved on to some history. I'm just using Seneca here to reinforce my knowledge and make sure I understand everything. However, the best thing you can do for history, in my opinion, is understand the structure you're going to use for each question. So whether you're looking at the Nazi Germany paper or the Elizabeth and Cold War paper, you need to know how you're going to structure each question. So if you know the format you're going to do, you're going to be awarded those high marks, because in history you can know every single day and every single event. However, if you don't know how to structure it well for the examiner, you're not going to get those high marks and get into that top band. Finally, I was getting to the end of this mammoth study session. I was very tired, but I just forced myself to do that little bit more maths just to go through a past paper. Slapped on some study music, for that little bit of extra motivation. I do recommend doing this. I feel like cramming did help a lot. And if you can revise for the song, go ahead and do it. If you can't, then don't. But this is not something you want to be doing every day. And I definitely didn't do this every day when revising for exams. But it was fairly useful to, go through all this information and make sure I understood everything. It was a tiring day, but I felt very, very happy with myself afterwards. And I felt that I should reward myself. So that was pretty good. After I finished all my revision, I just decided to relax, go on a little walk, play Minecraft with some friends, just have some time for myself. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, because there will be more content coming over the summer. There will be A-level content. There'll be, a Skillshare class hopefully coming soon, all about revising for GCSEs, and an Anki video. But don't worry, I'm not giving up just because GCSEs are ending. Don't forget to subscribe and have a productive week.